Adding lift kits or leveling kits and bigger tires to your truck can really impact the effectiveness of the factory scissor jack. So today we're going to take a more in-depth look at this Powerbuilt Unijack, how it works with my vehicle setup, as well as the important parts of how you can actually mount this safely in your vehicle so it's always there when you need it. Welcome back to Greenfield Overlanding, where we're all about budget overlanding with our daily drivers. So in a recent video, I talked about wheel and tire selection for my 2024 GMC Canyon. And one of the things we called out was the need to make some changes to my recovery gear. So today I want to go a little bit more in depth about this Powerbuilt 6,000 pound Unijack. So specifically, this Unijack is pretty interesting. It's a combination of a bottle jack and a jack stand in one. So it has the hydraulic bottle jack component to it, as well as this unique feature that allows you to go anywhere from 11 inches of lift all the way to 21 inches, but not necessarily doing all that by pumping the hydraulic jack. So specifically, you have this ability, I'll get a close up here, with these 5 different access points to set a starting height of your jack stand. So at this point, it's up at the highest level. If I were to measure this out, that gives me starting height somewhere around 17.5 inches, give or take. So that's a pretty good starting point for a lot of vehicles, especially those of us that are, say, not super high lifted, but really exploring those first sets of larger tires like I have. The other thing I like about this is it does have a locking mechanism. So once you get that set up, you can click the lock in place and that thing's not going to move. We have it locked both by the pin mechanism, as well as then locking the hydraulic component here as well through these teeth that you can see on the back of the jack stand itself. Let's take a look at how you can use this in practice. On my Canyon, at the current leveling and tire height, the lowest jack point on the frame is somewhere around 14 inches high. So this is where the flexibility of this Unijack comes in. I have multiple points that I mentioned earlier that you can set in terms of where you want your starting height to be. In my case, if I set this on the third one, I'm somewhere in the range of, say, about, we'll call it 13 inches high to start with. I'm just going to reduce the amount of time I need to jack that up. So if I slide this back under here, apologies for the scraping noise. If you slide that back under, you have, just like any other hydraulic jack, you have a tension screw so that you're actually setting this to a point to lift. Get that tightened down. And then simply a matter of jacking to start the lift. So you can see in a fairly short amount of time, I'm already at a point where I'm starting to raise the vehicle off the ground. So I'm not going to bore you with going through entire lift process, but just to show you, once it's in place, you can slide that lever down, and that locks via the teeth on the back of the jack to keep it stable in place while you need to perform your tire change, perhaps on the off-road. Similarly then, when I'm ready to lower the jack, it's just a matter of loosening. After having loosened it enough, you can compress that down and pull the unit back up. So as you can see, pretty easy to work with. I haven't had to do this in the field yet, but I'm imagining this is going to be a lot simpler than when I've had to do similar things with a scissor jack on a not even 4x4 type of vehicle. One of the benefits of a traditional bottle jack is that if you have some recovery boards like I have here, there's often this kind of squared off area that fits the base of the bottle jack. So if you're on, say, sand or really an unstable surface, you could use the recovery board as a more solid point to place your bottle jack on for performing the recovery. Unfortunately, with the additional base material of the Unijack here, it doesn't neatly fit into that slot, but it is broad enough where it sits pretty stable on the unit, on the recovery board rather, as a whole. So I think this may work in a similar situation. I haven't tried it out yet, but if anybody out there has used these types of recovery boards with a Unijack, please do chime in the comments. I'd love to know what your experience has been in using this kind of recovery board as a base with the Unijack on top of it. Some things to know about this jack, or areas that I think could be improvement, is first, from an improvement standpoint, is the actual jack arm itself. Now it's two pieces, so it easily breaks down and makes it easy to store away, which is great. But you know, as you may have noticed when I was trying to lift this up myself, with that length, you have to reach in there quite a ways, and it feels like it's a lot more repetitions to move it up and down, where maybe at some point, if I could figure out a way to lengthen this jack arm, that might work out better. But for now, the packability of the smaller one actually makes it a lot easier to transport around in the truck. Additionally, the unit itself is fairly heavy, so it's about 30 pounds. I'm not necessarily comfortable just letting it sit in the back of the truck bed unsecured, because you know, if you're moving over 55 miles per hour and you come to a sudden brake, that thing's probably going to fly forward and do some serious damage. Having some way to secure it in the vehicle has become important to me. The first thing I thought of is if I can remove all of the existing materials out of from under the seat where the scissor jack sits, perhaps I could fit this underneath. To measure that out, I looked at the width of the jack base, which is about, say, 9 inches, give or take a 1/4 inch. And then even at the lowest height level, which it's not at right now, comes in, if this were all the way lowered, that would be probably around 11 inches. So if you're an owner of a 3rd gen Canyon or Chevy Colorado, you're probably well aware of the limited amount of back seat, under seat space. In fact, the seat only folds up and the back does not fold down, so it really makes it difficult to get much use out of there unless you're stacking things on top of the seats. So let's take a look and see where I could potentially fit this or not within the Canyon. Lever. There we go, we can raise that up. So you can see this is the default storage area. I have a little bit of space here. I fit things like my deflator kit. Packed away in a bag here, I keep the lug nuts that fit the spare tire, breaker bar, as well as the sockets that I need to work with both my aftermarket wheel nuts as well as the standard lug nuts that come on there. Taking a look at the actual space here itself, you can see even if I were to take out the existing scissor jack, the depth in the under seat space is not very much at all. So if I were to take and measure here, I have about 5 inches at the highest point, which is nowhere near the 9 inches if I were to try to attempt to lay that jack on its side. So that was a bit of a disappointment for me at first. I was hoping to fit it under here, but I looked at some other options. It was pretty obvious to me that I was going to have to do some sort of configuration where I could mount and or store the jack in the back of the truck. Several months back, I'd added this molly panel that's on the cab side. So this isn't one of the Built Right or Victory 4x4, which I think are probably a little bit better in quality. This was an Amazon special. So I considered adding the jack to the molly panel, perhaps using some different materials to try to secure that in place. I'm not really confident that 30 pounds flying against gravity, if I were actually out off-road and hitting some bumps and such, that this panel would hold up so well. And I did some searching online and found that Powerbuilt actually makes a mounting plate for this. The things that come with this is, here's this very heavy duty plate. The plate will secure to the floor. The edges of the jack actually mount down or slide into these slotted areas, and then you tighten down this back portion to secure the thing in place. It also comes with this little red rubber stopper so that you can jam that into an area to help prevent some of the rattling that could occur. And then lastly, there's this little bag that comes with it where you can take the two poles that make up the jack arm, secure those in there, and then what I'll do is I'll actually strap that back to the molly panel in the back. So I'll have everything permanently and securely mounted, and I always have it with me when I need it in any situation. So as you can imagine, making the decision to drill some holes in my truck bed, I'm not taking very lightly. I'm actually rethinking where the placement is. This is what I initially thought I would do. So from a convenience standpoint, it makes it easy to get to the jack. If I want to run things all the way to the back, it probably seems better, but let me show you with the jack in and tell you what I'm thinking might be the problem with this position. Here's that plate mounting position with the jack on it as well. It's not terrible, but if I really think about how most of the time I'm using my truck bed, I'm probably putting a cooler back here or suitcases. I usually have one of those black totes with the yellow lid that I can help drop groceries in and things like that. And those all I want closest to the back of the truck. With the jack here, this might become inconvenient. So let's look at an alternate position. Option 2 is to mount this up here more in the corner of the bed. That places it a lot more out of the way for my day-to-day use. I can also utilize this bag, which I've just secured to the molly panels. You can slide these posts down in here. Sorry, not so great at this one-handed, but I think you get the idea. Keep the posts, they're relatively nearby then to the jack. Ultimately, I guess the trade-off is if you do have a flat or something of that nature, it is a little more inconvenient to get back here to the jack. As you can see with that there, it doesn't take a ton of space back here. I think this is probably going to work out best. Now I'd love to hear in the comments before I put this in place what you all think might be the best place for it. Let me know if you think I'm doing the wrong thing, and we can always debate that in the comments. What I'm trying to do here is I want to leverage the raised area or the ridges in the bed as the points where I'm going to bolt into. So what I've done is I've taken some painter's tape and marked down the two ridges where I could have bolt point attachments, with the idea here is I can then use the marker. So I have those marked. Next thing up is doing the drilling. The tools I'm going to need to perform this install are a Riv Nut, I guess we'll call it a gun, or Riv Nut tool. This one that I bought from Amazon, I'll put the link in the description, but it came with several different sizes. So specifically, I'll be using this M8. It also came packaged with several Riv Nuts, so these are the M8 Riv Nuts. These match up well with the bolts that came from the Powerbuilt mounting plate. I'll be using my drill, and for this I've picked up a Cobalt step bit. Unfortunately, the packaging that came and included these Riv Nuts didn't spell out exactly what size hole you need, so I did some research, and it suggested that this is either going to be, say, 11 millimeters, which works out roughly to, I guess, about 7/16. Just to test it, I took a block of wood, I tried some of the different steps, and I found at the point where the right step seems to be a good snug fit in the wood for this particular Riv Nut. So that maps out to what is the 7/16 measure on this particular step bit. About to take the plunge. Here goes nothing, causing some, I guess, potentially irreparable harm to my truck bed. But let's see how it goes. Oh, almost forgot one important thing. I also picked up a tube of this Black RTV Silicone instant gasket. So this will be good for where I have the holes. Of course, there'll be some exposed metal. I want to seal up around that as well as around when the riv nuts go in. That way I should have a good, protective finish. All the destructive part is done. Only one small problem that I ran into along the way. So I had marked for 4 holes, and I was able to drill 4 holes, but I found out on one of the 4 that the position based on where I could position the plate actually lands over the middle of looks like some sort of support arm across the bed. So I feel that probably 3 should be enough to hold it. We'll give it a try, see how it works out. So I have the plate lined up, and as you can see, 1, 2, and 3 riv nut locations are very accessible. Let's go ahead and secure these in here. At least get them finger tight to start. All right, so 3 in there. I think I could probably work a little more on positioning to tighten that down, but so far, pretty pleased. Feels pretty solid in place. Yeah, so there it is. We now have everything we need in the case that I need to change a tire. This is bolted down solid. All of the handles here are latched to the molly panel. So I think that's going to work out well. So it'll be good to have this with me at all times. We'll have to check back in a brief period of time to give you a report on both how solid this mount has worked out, as well as am I ultimately happy with the positioning. So thanks for tuning in with us. Hopefully you like this kind of content. And if you do, please do give us a like. It really helps out us as a new channel. And if you really appreciate this and you want to see more videos around modifications to a GMC Canyon or to Steve's Jeep Rubicon, please do subscribe. We're trying to pump out as much content as we can, both from modifications, gear reviews, as well as our trips on the overland side. So thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.